You are now tuned in to Dope Dynamics on the Hold Up TV network. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m.
This is another sexy story series.
Yo, it's your boy DJ Sensi Star, only on the Hold Up TV network. This is Dope Dynamics on another Wednesday night. We about to get into some real live conversation, but before we do that, let me spit a little something like, yo, it's your boy Sensi Star, we on the Hold Up TV network, where the conversations matter, booty popping, shaking a net worth, grinding Monday through Friday, don't matter, we lock it down. I guess we can agree on that when the Vinky come around. Shout out to the man, it's Captain the Rope Planning, family modern school, video games, movies, and antics. We got a sports team too, going by the adults from crew. If you hear the moves hollering, you already know what to do. Here's my announcer, it Izzy, rapping, singing, get trippy, but don't get it twisted. He fresh shots without missing. That's an upset radio tree and Leilani on a mission. Guest speakers and letters, you really shouldn't miss it. Kathy D, Love and Carmen, 3 Power Love Latinas, about to blow up in the glue that keeps the team up. Then my man DT Dub, the money maker, gameplay commentator. I love my team of content creators. Yeah, y'all know what it is. DJ Sensi Star, Da Vinci, Princess Bex, Steve, real name, no gimmicks, only on the Hold Up TV network. You know we do this dope dynamic things every Wednesday night. If you don't like what we got to say, politely see yourself out the motherfucking door. So you came for some dope dynamics, well, you in the right place. Our topic and controversy, what we might face, having fun and politicking, no matter what we might say. It's opinions on the table and there ain't no right way. A collection of individuals who could be night and day. 4 members at the table going through it the harder way, and won't be pacified just cause Juneteenth is a holiday. We gon' hit you with this MJ, but the fade'll never fall away. Feminists are up and best believe they watching. She got the knowledge and dish out more than Stockton. Real name, no gimmicks, and can't nobody stop it. The Hold Up TV network on, and we locked in. Princess Bex, if you're nasty, yeah, you should watch it. Always keep the crown on, even when she talk shit. I'm the beast slayer, so you better cop quick. You mic for me now, but I'm a DJ till I'm top. You heard what it is. We are now just moments away from Dope Dynamics, exclusively on the Hold Up TV network.
You are now listening to DJ Sensi Star on the Hold Up TV network.
Greetings and salutations from the blackest show on the internet. It's your man Steve, real name, no gimmick. White lives matter, all lives matter. Let's get right into it. Come out swinging. Kanye West has broken the internet, and I'm joined here with me, Malia. I don't speak Spanish. Who the fuck am I trying to impress right now? And I'll never care to learn it. So here's the deal. It's DJ Sensi Star, the Pink Princess Bex. We're talking about Kanye West, Candace Owens. Oh, Bex froze on the perfect moment. You see that? That was like the perfect freeze right there. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about Kanye West? First, how are y'all doing?
I'm good. How are you, Steve?
Oh, you know me. I've been reinvigorated, Bex. Was having an identity crisis, and now I realized,
What kind of crisis?
An identity crisis.
You don't know who you are?
Oh, I know who I am. I've been trying to be another way than I can, but it's because I had a conversation with you where it's like, I'm just going to be all me tonight. So
we are who we are. Fuck it. Live your life. Do what you want to do.
Yes. Jeffrey Dahmer with the LGBTQ representation. Oh, here we go. DJ Sensi Star, how are you, my brother?
Oh man, I am doing pretty good. Long day.
Right.
The kids down at the studio out running around the track, getting their endurance up because they are going to be parading next Thursday in one of the biggest events in the city each year. It's called Blink Festival, and it's pretty awesome event. So we're excited about that. But we gotta make sure they're able to do their majorette strut through the streets for at least a mile for this parade. So
Okay. Shout out to the little queens and empresses, doing their thing. You want to plug the organization for any fundraising? Let the people know.
Yes. If you guys would willing and able to help, I work for an organization called Q Kids Dance Team. It's in the West End neighborhood of Cincinnati, underserved, underprivileged neighborhood. And basically what we do is it's a dance organization to give the girls in that neighborhood something to do after school and during summer, just to build, positive teamwork, positive attitudes, keep them out of the drugs and the streets and all that other goofy mess. So www.q-kidswithaz.org.
That's right. Shout out. Doing the Lord's work early, DJ Sensi Star. Let's jump right into it, right? So Kanye West, aka Yeezus, aka Yeezy, aka Mr. AKA, preferably known as Kanye.
The GOAT.
Kanye is trending right now. Obviously, he and Candace Owens, his spiritual advisor or political advisor, I should say, are trending because they wore some shirts with the Pope on it, and everyone hates the Pope, so that's why they're mad. No, that's not it. That's not why they're mad.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so they went to a fashion show, Kanye's fashion show over in Paris. I don't know if I'm misquoting this. I'm not up on the fashion, but I think it was for Fashion Week or an impromptu show, whatever it was. And Kanye's, premiering some new clothing. Shout out to all the people who are mad at Kanye, but will probably still buy a pair of Yeezus sneakers or those Yeezys as they were. But he wore a shirt that simply said, "White Lives Matter." I repeat, the shirt said "White Lives Matter." Now, we've talked about Black Lives Matter here on Dope Dynamic many times. I believe we landed on do not criticize Black people in public, and you can hate the organization. No. I'm trying to remember what the viewpoint was. That you can have issue with the organization, but the slogan should not be disrespected. Is that where you two fine people stand? Okay. Wanted to make sure. So, in a brave political stance, Kanye West declares that white lives matter, and now everyone's mad at Kanye again. What are your thoughts?
Let's allow the resident Kanye stan to announce what she thinks first.
My favorite problematic Gemini king.
He is a Gemini, isn't he?
And he is a troll. He's a master troll. So apparently, what I'm getting from him and Candace, the whole shirt thing was like a pawn or whatever. Like he put something like a positive image in the front, and then he put some big wild shit in the back. And it was like a social experiment, and he wanted to see basically what the media was going to pay attention to. Was they going to pay attention to the negativity or the positive thing? That's what I'm from him and Candace.
Okay. Actually, that's a good take. That's a very good take. Where would you say the media landed on it, Bex? What were they checking for the most?
Oh, clearly, we love the negativity. We love the chaos. There wasn't nobody paying attention to the fucking Pope. Half the people don't even know what the front of the shirt looks like.
No, they don't. Sensi, your thoughts before we really start diving in here.
Fuck Kanye West. Fuck White Lives Matter. Dumbass shirt, and having the Pope on front of a White Lives Matter shirt. It's not good or bad which one they're going to focus on. It's just him continuing to sell out to these fucking crackerjack motherfuckers.
Ooh.
White man on the front of an all White Lives Matter shirt. Ain't no good or bad. You overthought that like the rest of the Kanye stands did.
I didn't overthink it.
So we talked about this last night on Fanboy. Shout out Fanboy Modeling School. And I am just entirely impressed with myself, as per usual,
Why, Steve?
because I am able to decipher instantaneously what is happening here, right? I know what Kanye is doing, and I refuse to be a part of it, to think too deeply about it, right? I refuse to think too deeply about a person who can't even explain what his political views are. I have a rule in regards to engagement and debate, social, private, or otherwise. Do I respect the person, right? Is usually the first place I start with. Do I understand what this person is saying? Is this worth my time? So if I've ever debated with you before, not that you should hold this as a hallmark, but you are worth my time and I respect you. I don't debate people I don't respect. I just let them know they're wrong out the gate. I'm like, you're wrong, and everything you're about to say is wrong. And it's so wrong that I am your only hope, a bastion, a beacon of hope in the stupidity which you call your opinion. But in regards to this situation, I don't care enough to really engage with it. Like if Kanye wore the shirt to my family reunion and everyone was throwing potato salad at him, I'd be like, why are you mad at this man? We know that this is what he does to keep you engaged. Now, if you really want to show Kanye you're mad, I want you to take your Yeezys outside and burn them. You burn your Yeezys right now. Anyone that's on the internet right now talking about how mad they are at Kanye, show me how mad you are. You actually don't have to prove anything to me, but the ancestors, our forebears, would have most certainly burned their Yeezys, no matter how much they paid for them. I need to see that energy from my people right now. Get off the internet. Stop listening to Boosie. He sells whack-ass potato chips, right? Even though Boosie's one of my favorite people to follow on the internet. I sent you guys that shit where they show Boosie his twin, and I'm like, God damn, doesn't everybody have an uncle just like Boosie? Like, you can't tell me you ain't got an uncle like this stashed away somewhere. But Kanye wants this big reaction from the community. Now, the only thing I'm pondering is the reaction he's looking for, is it to be thought-provoking? Is he trying to make us think about certain things? Because then we can have a deeper conversation. My real grievance with not the slogan, but Black Lives Matter, the organization, is the monetary situation, right? I could stand behind Black Lives Matter as a slogan. Yes, I believe Black Lives Matter, and I believe that through and through in all forms when it comes to the deaf or unfortunate end of Black people. So I can get down with that. But is Kanye trying to make us think deeper about these things? Since he says no, since he thinks that he's just out there buffoonery looking for white acceptance. Am I right? Since am I representing your view?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much completely what I'm going for. And I don't even know if I'd go for completely, just him wanting white acceptance. I think he wants. I think, and it's obvious he's doing it for white dollars.
Okay.
Because whether they accept him or not, motherfuckers will buy Jordans or Yeezys or whatever, a Kobe jersey, and has some shit to say about them behind their back. You know what I'm saying? Because they idolize it. They only look at them for what they can do on the basketball court or with music and stuff like that. So I think even if it's just to capitalize on their dollars, for me that it's too much.
Okay.
For me it's not brilliant, because shock value. There's nothing new about shock value. They do it in marketing all the time.
Right.
The difference between his shock value and a lot of other shock value is he always feels the need to push the limits of what is acceptable. And I can understand that from like a rebellious point of view.
Right. Okay.
I can understand that. But whether it was the fucking MAGA hat, the Confederate, I believe he designed a Confederate shirt before this, like a few years back.
Okay. I wasn't up on that one, but yeah, go ahead.
And then a White Lives Matter shirt. The thing is, there is no, at least to my knowledge, a major organization of White Lives Matter creating opportunities for white people. And this is why, to me, the whole slogan itself is irrelevant. It was created as a white supremacist response to Black Lives Matter. So it's not even like All Lives Matter, where there was just a group of people that wanted everybody to feel included. It was specifically created as an anti-Black Lives Matter movement. Okay. It's listed as a supremacist group according to the ADL.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
so
it's
like, why that? And so one thing I've heard, which I don't agree with, because in really any circumstance, is protesting the protest. You're wearing their stuff to show them that it doesn't bother you. That's not a genius way to protest to me. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It crossed a line with me. And, not all money is good money. And that is something that he's going to have to take with him to the grave. And I was having a side conversation with Bex yesterday about this. And the only way, like, I can really see him justifying this to the point where someone like me could accept it is if 6-7 months down the line, he's like, all the donation, all of the proceeds I made from, what did he call it, season 9,
mm-hmm.
is going to some school or something in the south side of Chicago. Because otherwise, you're just doing it for your own gain.
You know what? And you bring up very valid points. I want Bex to jump in here, but you bring up very valid points. I do have to come to his defense in this. Kanye has poured a lot of money into the south side of Chicago. And I don't mean just like a little bit. Like he's active. Well, the last time I checked, he was very active in regards to his work in the community and stuff like that. You brought up another interesting point about the protesting the protest, right? I do agree with that. The sentiment of white lives matter or blue lives matter, the first incarnation of this entire conversation, was in response to the slogan of Black Lives Matter. I've never understood how that was a tangible response, because I would lean on the side that says, yeah, okay, no one's discounting that. But this slogan came up because something unjust happened. But I don't want to, in regards to Kanye, this is what I'm saying, right? And before I let my sister tap in, don't fall for the okie doke. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now you don't like when I say this, but I mean this sincerely. I think you're giving too much credit to people who are not as offended as you, Cincy. I think that you're a man of high morals, right? And other people are pretending to be so offended by this statement. I'm not buying it, because if it was a true message of offense, right? Whenever I am done with something, I'm done with it fiscally, right? I'm done with it. Maybe I'll make a public proclamation, but then don't buy anything that this man has to say. You can't go off of what's hot, right? And I'm not saying his music hasn't been hot in a minute, but
everybody keeps saying that
because it hasn't been.
The gospel album I liked it, but it wasn't great. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't great, but speak with your dollars. I'm doubting the hater is calling out the sincerity of the outrage. I think that Kanye has provided a symbiotic relationship for people. He wants to remain relevant, and he says things to remain relevant, and then people respond in kind because they think that's going to make them look altruistic, like they are down for the cause. Boosie, you don't get to say nothing about this, right? No, not Boosie, not the man that said he takes his son to see beep, right, and solicits beep for his sons. You're out of the moral conversation, my guy. You don't get to commentate on anything. Bex, your thoughts.
I agree with the Boosie statement, but interesting enough, the English translation for like the Spanish quote in the front of the shirt, it's "We will follow your example."
Sell out bastard motherfucker, bro. I swear
what?
to God, yes.
Wait. Context is, so that's the front of the shirt with the Pope.
Yeah.
Most liberal Pope to live ever since This is a pope that's one statement away from saying that the church is away from their views in regards to the LGBT community. Yo, this is a pope who's he's down for the people, Cincy. Come on, man, right? This man's for the people.
Well, because if it was positivity Kanye wanted, Kanye wouldn't have fucking used a fucking dumbass slogan like
I'm
white
not
lives
saying
matter.
he wanted positivity. Like
Exactly.
I said, he's a master troll, and at the end of the day, you're not supposed to feed the trolls, but everybody wants to feed the troll.
No, this is what I'm saying. You can feed the troll his own fucking medicine back to him, but like Steve just said, collectively as a fucking community, we won't do that. So it's just gonna be me standing on this fucking podium, yelling at a crowd of fucking four, talking about burn your fucking Yeezys and throw the fucking CDs out.
No, I want you to know, as my brother, but younger brother, welcome to my day-to-day experience with life. I'm like, it's me alone with my morals. No one's standing with me here. And I know exactly that feeling you just had when you were sipping the water that wasn't in that Wendy's cup. Shout out to Wendy's for sponsoring this video. That's the feeling I feel most times. So, but let's go deeper. He's got the Pope on the front, a liberal Pope. Does that not balance it out? Why are you laughing? With Geminis, it's me, Cincy, and Kanye. 3 Geminis. This argument is amongst us, right?
Yeah. Okay. And there's so many other Geminis we could lean towards other than Kanye West for inspiration.
He's in, Cincy. He's in.
Kanye West is the level of Gemini I hope to never reach in my life. That motherfucker isn't the king of Geminis. He was like the Gemini god that didn't get invited to the constellation, so he just acts out. Like the fucking youngest child, the middle child. He's the middle child.
It's so great, man. When we did the conversation, go check it out, man. It's DJ Cincy Star, myself, and Alvin, Pastor Alvin, had a great conversation about thug culture versus whitewashed black culture. And we, since he had such hesitation, and I mean this sincerely, about using a certain word, the original name for the show, right? Which you made me think about it. You made me do an about face, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to be up here saying that, like 1,000 times, even if other black people say it about black people all the time. I don't want to be that. But the C word, Candace Owens. Oh, you thought I was going to say the other. Right? I don't think people are mentally equipped to deal with what, Kanye's just who he is, right? But I don't think people are ready for the level 7 Super Saiyan that Candace Owens is. You got to be firing on all cylinders, man. In fact, I think Dave Chappelle took an L when he tried to engage with Candace Owens. She had some legitimate points, and Dave came back and said she had a smelly vagina. Not the strongest argumentation, right? Not the strongest, but Candace Owens. Now, let's get with the heavy hitter. Her beef is public with Black Lives Matter. She feels like they abused and used black fear to profit and, grow and take advantage of everyone. What are your thoughts?
I mean, we're going at this, again later. I think obviously she was right about the organization. The other, personal stuff that she adds in there, it's not so much. You know what?
That's the first time I heard you say that, man. That's big of you.
Yes, it's been a long time. I'm not about to re-say it, but yes, that's he drew that out of me. Okay? Like he really drew that out of me. So this is my big thing, and this I might have beef with. Or not beef, but I'd like to hear Bex's thing, because why were we so quick to uninvite her to the cookout, to police her, but unwilling to do the same?
We as a community, the Black community, because we as a community love to coddle Black men.
Slow your roll.
It's the truth. We as a community, we love to coddle black men.
Okay. Oh.
Did he just suck his teeth at you?
That bullshit you do. I do not like this. Okay, no disrespect to my non-ADOS FBA people. Shout out Nigeria and all other regions. Unpack that. What do you mean we love to coddle black people? Coddle black
men.
Who's coddling black men?
We as a community, specifically black women, we love to coddle black men.
Oh, you ain't gonna make a claim like that. You gotta break that down for the audience. How are black men coddled by black women? Because Andrew Tate, the great prophet. I'm joking. Go ahead, continue.
At the end of the day, no matter how problematic, I always mostly see black women making excuses for these black men who are problematic.
Are we on the same internet?
Yeah, we are.
No, I think I honestly think that, well, since he's more up on this than I am, what's the sister's name from ESPN that's been going in hard on the coach from Boston? Rashida, is that her name? What's her name? I don't think that black men are coddled by the majority of black women. I'm having a hard time with that one, Bex.
We are a black male worship community.
No. No. Okay, wait, well, let me let you unpack that. So all black women coddle black men. Is that the statement?
Not all, but most of them, yes.
And what in the immortal words of someone that will remain nameless, what evidence do you have to provide for that? Where are you seeing
experience?
Huh?
Life experience.
Are you coddling black men?
Oh no, I'm not coddling black men.
Oh, you coddling the shit out of Kanye.
I don't coddle Kanye.
Bex, you and I both know you'd be like, Kanye, put your head down on my lap.
I do not coddle Kanye.
What, Cincy, are black men coddled? Are we overly protected and our emotions spared at every chance?
See, I'm torn on this one a little bit because my initial reaction is to say yes. Only because we know how many times we've seen black moms defend their sons during the most ridiculous shit that is indefensible. And that goes for all moms, not just, black moms, but in general. So it makes me wonder, is it possible that is a trait that's passed down? Do sisters coddle their brothers for even during inexcusable times? Okay. It makes me want to feel like that is true. Now, we also see black men get bashed all the time. We also see literally a division, and I'm not going to get deep into this, that quote unquote could have been or could not have been created by a system in which black women just said, we don't need black men anymore because we got X, Y, and Z. But it does go into this that I was also mentioning the other night. Out of all the people, and I'd love to see Adidas and Nike's stats, as well as the Gap, because he had a Gap deal too, correct?
Right.
I believe from my experience, the majority of people that wear Yeezys are either like affluent white men or black women. And so if, in fact, the Yeezy line continues, I know where I'm pointing the finger, and it's only two fingers I need to point at. That's all I'm gonna say with that one.
Why two fingers? You point like that?
No, because I'm pointing one finger over here at these white men that loved that all White Lives Matter shirt, and I'm pointing the other finger at the women that continue to support and buy his shoes outrageously.
So maybe that's why Candace Owens is an outlier, right? Because I'm thinking about the coddling of black men, which I don't agree with. But
look at okay.
No, go ahead. No. Always. Feel
I'm
free.
giving like for examples, like other celebrities. Like Boosie is problematic as hell, but black women love Boosie.
No. See,
Whatever. R. Kelly, problematic as hell, but black women were the main ones caping for R. Kelly.
some black women were caping for him. I don't think that we're in a place where you could say the majority of black women were caping for him. And Boosie, the only ones caping for him are women. I think, not to completely discount your view, I think, in my opinion, only black women who could possibly cape for Boosie are clout chasers and the type of women that hope to bump into him at the gas station or the club. You know what I'm saying? Because they want their free Boosie chips or they want to come up. I really don't think that black women coddle black men, because if that was the case, there would be, and this is just in my opinion, there would not be this divide in regards to how we relate to each other. You can't be coddled and be divided.
Do you think do you think black mothers treat their black sons differently than their black daughters?
See, that's a misnomer. I would treat my black son different than my black daughter because those are two different roles and two different responsibilities. I have two different sets of problems. I got to worry about this one getting someone pregnant, and I got to worry about this one getting pregnant. So I would most certainly treat them differently. My approach would be different for sure. Now, do black moms coddle their black sons? My mom loved me, but she didn't coddle me. She prepared me for the world, as it were, but she loved me as her child. That's why I was trying to figure out, what is your definition of coddle?
Um, well, using like the whole family dynamic, I feel like black women tend to like tolerate and like tolerate their black daughters, but they actually, like overly spoil their black sons.
We have a Latino present, so Latin women would say the same thing about the way some Latin women would say the same thing about the way that their brothers are raised, and I think it's just the way a mother relates to a son. Because at the same time, black men most certainly are harder on their sons than they are on their daughters.
True.
You know, but again, I could be wrong, man. I did eat some Boosie chips today, and my shit, I could be all messed up, right? I got the ignorance in you right now.
God.
Yeah, those Boosie chips, they slap. They're good. Let's get back to Candace Owens, right? Here's a black woman not coddling any man, not any black man, or because since he asked a very poignant question, though, we're so ready to police, Candace. But there's an exception made, and your response to that was black women coddle black men. But I think that black people, I think some of us are willing to look the other way because of a person's status, right? And it's hard to not look at Kanye the way we remember him, the young, boisterous young man that said, George Bush doesn't care about black people, and then seeing him as he is now. And then there are some black people that are just like, this doesn't, I don't care. I don't care if he says white lives matter. What's the sentiment behind it? And let's talk about that. Why is everyone, I know since he talked about the group, but is it really that offensive to say that white lives matter? That was like 8 questions, so you can pick whichever one you want to answer first.
Me personally, I don't care enough to be offended. So I wasn't offended when I saw it.
Is that because you love Kanye and you're just like, oh, he's just being...
That's because I know he's a troll. He's a troll.
Sensi, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is how I feel. When the Black Lives Matter slogan was being created and the organization being created, if we just look at what the words meant, there was a need for that statement to come out. There was so much going on that maybe some people just needed to be reminded that they matter. It started a conversation, a dialogue. Whether that dialogue led to advancements or not is debatable, but at least it started the conversation.
Good point.
That is not what White Lives Matter did. In fact, we know from the history of the fucking world, for at least the last 2,000 fucking years, White Lives Matter. They matter so much that literally every other culture in the entire world, for the most part, tries to emulate their status
Right.
because they have that much influence. So it's outrageous to even need to say. We know that. You show us that every day. Our government, our economy, our marketing shows us every day White Lives Matter. So the fact that you did that to counter people who felt oppressed, but you had no room to say that you were oppressed, other than that you're scared of what do they call it? The replacement theory or whatever they call it. Like
Yes.
that's what you're afraid of. And that's not an oppression that's even occurred yet. And the only reason you're afraid of it is because you're afraid that when you are replaced, you're going to be treated the same way you treated the other people.
So the interesting thing about the replacement theory thing, right? So when the amount of insanity I'm exposed to on the internet never ever surprises me, right? But the replacement notion, the fact that people feel like that white people are on the verge of being replaced, this isn't new stuff. This is the same rhetoric that was used post Civil War, right? This actually it grew from somewhere. But in regards to this topic, how do we reconcile the fact? So we had a conversation once about Black Lives Matter, and in regard to the critiquing of Black people in public. And the one thing Da Vinci said, which I didn't agree with, but I understand the sentiment, was that it gives ammunition to the opposition to critique Black people and to go against popular slogans in public. But the real question becomes, how do we, because Kanye did raise an interesting point, as did ASAP Rocky at one point, how can we say these things about Black Lives Matter when in fact that all-encompassing statement means that it should matter all the time, right? And so I think that's where our argument falls short sometimes. If they matter in regards to police brutality, it should matter here. And I know that's kind of like a straw man, but it's a true point. But we're still not dealing with Candace. We're not dealing with Candace, right? Candace is with her boo, right? She's with her boo, and they're making this political statement together. Why all the hate for Kanye, and why are people so scared to go at Candace? Or have they completely written her off as the C word?
No, I think that's exactly what's happened, is because we've already written her off, and she's done. You could arguably say she's done a lot less, but she's already been written off. So the fact that we see Candace Owens in this shirt didn't surprise anybody. I mean, it really didn't surprise you that Kanye did it either, but we already wrote her off.
Right.
We had plenty of opportunities to write Kanye off and didn't do it. But I do want to touch on Candace too. Candace Owens here is dangerous. This is dangerous because we're talking about a woman that 15 years ago was in school, high school, matter of fact, and was called these slurs.
Yes.
To the point where she was awarded money eventually. Like that's how bad it was. And then you go in later in her life, she goes through school, college, gets her, good jobs, runs a blog that's anti-conservative. Directly attacking Donald Trump in some instances. And not just a blog she managed, but wrote for it.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
The fact that she has manipulated herself in a way to go from experiencing racism to almost being apologetic to these situations makes her extremely. She's definitely very smart, but it's just dangerous because at this point, I have no idea what your play is here with Kanye West, because she could just be another person that's about to take advantage of him, or she could be using it. Well, I mean, I guess either way, that would be a taking advantage.
Right.
She's looking at him like she is deeply admiring Kanye West. They are a match made in heaven, if we're going to be honest. But because she's gone through this, became what I feel like is an apologist, reinvented herself to be anti-conservative to almost completely conservative. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. She's like a wild card at this point to me.
So the interesting about Candace is, so yes, the history starts with the situation that happened to her in her adolescence or in high school, whenever it took place. And then she did. She was a staunch, not staunch, but she was a Obama supporter. And then she had her red pill moment, according to her, which was the fact that she woke up to the information that. Thank you, Bex. That the Democratic Party doesn't care for black people at all. So do we allow people to change their viewpoint? And I understand what you're saying, since you doubt the sincerity of it. And she can be overly apologetic for certain situations. But again, that's not what people care about. We care about how cute they look together here in this picture. Now, you trying to tell me that's not the couple that was meant to be together? Look at the way she's looking at him. Is she holding his hand? What's happening here?
I don't know. I don't know, but they do look cute.
It's going to take everything in me to admit this, but I would much rather Kanye West be with Candace Owen than Kim Kardashian, and that just hurt a little piece of my heart to see that.
Yeah, I would much prefer that too. Poor Kim just had to pay that $1 million out. But Candace Owens did have some things to say in regards to this entire situation. Obviously, she believes that it's fake outrage, right? That people aren't actually offended, that this is just something they're doing to pretend to care about it. And she had something to say on YouTube. So let's check out.
All right. Usually I begin every episode with a question of the day, but it seems that the questions are coming to me. The big one being, why did
I'm going to make sure that we talk through this time, because Candace strikes me as the type of person that would copyright strike the channel. I just I don't want to go to another Breakfast Club thing. So
Candace Owens and Kanye West wear White Lives Matter t-shirts last night at his Yeezy Season 9 show here in Paris. I'm still in Paris.
And just like Bex, she's got a little pen and some paper. What is Bex writing? Ask question on this show. What is Bex writing down during the show? What is Candace writing right now?
Here's the shirt, by the way. If you're listening, you can probably find it anywhere online. It seems we broke the internet, but if you're watching, here it is, the notorious White Lives Matter shirt, which has inspired a meltdown, a breakdown for some people. I think my question is, why? Why did this t-shirt or our t-shirts inspire such a meltdown for so many people? I'm going to talk to you about the breakfast that I just had with Ye.
Also, I don't think she got the memo. It's not Ye. All right. It's Ye. So if someone wants to send Candace an email, I know she's not really worried about that type of stuff, but it seems like an important thing, I think.
And some further remarks that he made on his Instagram. All that and more today on Candace Owens.
Oh, hell no. We ain't plugging her whole show. Look at her. She's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like she's looking for Cincy. She's like, I heard there's this dude.
Out of all the times I've complimented her big ass fucking forehead, god damn it.
Since you
had a nerve to copyright strike our show.
Since you knocked that off, good and dang well, she's just the right complexion for you. You love that. You know what I'm saying? You're all about it. if Candace threw an unk on you, you'd be like, hey, baby, take this phone number down. What's your name? You hate lover for real. But I'm gonna try to find the actual video I was watching earlier, because it's a little bit shorter and more concise. There it is.
killer. And of course, Candace, a girl like you shouldn't even be here. Look how expensive the omelet for the order.
This is interesting because she's going to talk about a little bit of, she doesn't use the word racism, but classism she experienced.
Organization. And where did that money go? Well, certainly not to Black America. So I had this wonderful thing this morning, this wonderful experience, and I'll tell you why it was wonderful. I had breakfast with Ye at his hotel, and it was wonderful because it was one of those moments where I realized how far I've come from where I was. The first time that I ever came to Paris, ironically, I was having breakfast with a woman whose family I worked for, and she was so awful to me. And I'll never forget this moment because it almost ruined Paris for me. It was a wealthy woman who told me as we sat in her hotel, which was the George Cinq Hotel, she said, Candace, a girl like you shouldn't even be here. Look how expensive the omelet is that you're eating. Do you see how expensive it is? An omelet is $35.
So I just want to stop there. I've had omelets that are way more expensive than $35. So I don't know who this lowbrow person was trying to pretend like they were rich, but I'm like, I've definitely had a $50 omelet. I didn't pay for it. It was expense. Shout out to the client that paid for those expenses.
Girl like you can't afford this hotel, or you can't afford to stay here. And I remember I was so upset that when I left that breakfast, I was crying because I was so angry that anybody had spoken to me like that. And fast forward, I guess, more than 10 years now, and I am sitting at a hotel with having an omelet, by the way, with Ye West, and we are discussing.
Someone's got to get her the email. It's got to be an email we can send out. Hey, Dreamers Broadcast, welcome in.
The internet, which we just broke over this T-shirt. And I just started jotting down some things that he was saying because he was actually giving an interview to another magazine. And he said, I perform for an audience of one, and that's God. I loved that statement, so I wrote it down. He also said, quote, utopia is possible for not who we are being led by. I'm going to say that again. Utopia is possible for not who we are being led by.
Let me stop right there for a second. So I had to replay that point a couple of times. Utopia is possible for not who we are led by. What are you guys drawing from that? Besides the obvious fail at Shakespearean Elizabethan speech there. What do you think about that? Utopia is possible, but not for who we are led by.
I mean, who is she suggesting is going to lead us into utopia?
Well, that was Kanye. Ye said that, and she thought it was profound enough to write it down. I just, I felt like that was not a hit right there. I didn't think it was that deep of an impactful statement. I understand the implication of it, but it doesn't, that didn't really land with me.
No, it's not landing with me at all either.
Bex, Ye, as a philosopher, you falling for it, or what's going on?
As a philosopher?
Yeah, you think Ye's getting philosophical, and did it resonate with you?
The shirt?
God damn it, Bex.
She's fired. Somebody called in this meeting.
What? Does what resonate with me?
Black Lives Matter.
Oh, the statement that Kanye made that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay. But never mind. Let's keep it rolling right now.
And people who claimed to be leaders and knew that what they were doing was further dividing the masses. I mean, the whole idea here via the Black Lives Matter movement was to make sure that Black people saw oppression and saw white supremacy surrounding them, and convincing them that if they leaned into this narrative, that somehow their lives would be better. It was a mirage. Actually, that's a word that Ye used during the breakfast too. It was basically a mirage, right? This idea that somehow all we needed to do was burn down our own neighborhoods. All we needed to do was have our youth wearing a George Floyd t-shirts. All we needed to do was loot Targets and loot these expensive stores, and somehow justice would be delivered. And of course it wasn't. There is a deep...
So that's the one part of the argument that I just want to settle in here for a second. Does Candace have a point? Was justice delivered? Has anything changed from the events or the situation she described there? Looting, burning down, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think that it has propelled or moved us forward at all?
Okay, so that's kind of a loaded question in my opinion, because obviously I don't think looting is opening or breaking down any doors, making any positive change, anything like that. But when you summarize the whole voice of the people and just focus on the looting, you are ignoring the fact that those voices are capable of making the change. And we've seen some, and maybe not in the larger cases, because everybody likes to bring up, George Floyd, and for good reason. But, even with like what was the girl's name in Louisville? Was that Breonna Taylor that the police busted in her house?
Yes.
They made change as soon as people started talking about that. So it's like, let's not just focus on the people that are protesting incorrectly, because that's taking away from the people that are doing it in a manner that does inspire progress.
Okay. Bex, your thoughts?
I agree.
I actually don't have an argument with that statement. I believe that. So you guys know, I make no secret of this. Breonna Taylor, and then what was the poor brother's name in Atlanta that was jogging? Right? What was that? What was that brother's name, Sissy? Was it Ahmaud Arbery? No, that was
Arbery.
Yeah, I believe that those two situations were so clear in regards to injustice, and I believe that the Floyd situation was clear. Right? It does not matter to me that he had a criminal past or that he was a substance abuser. What matters to me in regards to Floyd is a statement from the coroner, there but for. Very powerful, right? There but for. Had these things not happened to him, he would not have died. But I do lean on the side where I don't think that in regards to George Floyd, the outpour that we saw brought a real understanding from groups outside of the community. I don't think it levied anything where it was like, hey, this is horrible, because what people mostly saw, and even though it wasn't predominantly black people you saw in these stills, were people doing things to be opportunistic. You know what I'm saying? And I want to point that out. When you see footage of Union Square in New York being looted and burnt down, right? When they're breaking into Best Buy and the Foot Locker on 14th Street, most of the people you see doing that aren't black people, but they are claiming that they're doing it on behalf of this injustice. That's the part I have a hard time reconciling. I do not understand how looting furthers the mission at all. That's my issue, but I do understand that outrage can make you do a great deal of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't even, we can go back in history. It's not hard to prove that looting doesn't bring change. We know that. I just hate that the media, and then again, even our own community like to focus on those points too when we're arguing against things, because look, you could go back to LA and the numerous amounts of riots they've had. It ain't changed their police system once. They still got the same issues in their justice system and in their police department as they had 50 years ago. And they created the definition of how to fucking loot during a fucking riot. So we know that it doesn't lead to change.
Right.
So, let's just stop focusing on it. And then, like you said, it makes me think like, are there plans? Are there people that are doing this on purpose to counter the positive aspects? Because like you mentioned, we see a lot of these looters and it's not people from our community doing it, but they end up the news, the image, the brick that's getting thrown through the window.
Right.
And that completely erases the whole 10 hours everybody was there in the streets peacefully before that.
No, and I gotta acknowledge that. I'm going to say it right now. I watched all of it, just like most people did when the whole thing was going down, and I was just like, yeah, that guy's a pretty hairy white hippie. Like, he's not a black man in outrage, and he's tossing fire into it. I think the one thing that most people, when they recollect looting and how ineffective it is and how it impacts people, is obviously the LA riots, right? So you look at how it impacted the Korean community, right? These people had nothing to do, nothing at all. You can make an argument about colonization, taking black dollars, all that shit. But when it came down to it, in regards to what we're supposed to be protesting about and what we're supposed to be angry about, there was not a Korean cop present when Rodney King got beat down. And to this day, that's something that's still being mended between two communities in LA, right? The Koreans and blacks. Why did this have to happen to our business? Why did this outcry impact us, not the people who actually victimize you? Let's ask the lovely Candace Owens.
Deep irony and a sad irony when you consider that wearing a t-shirt has led such a tremor throughout the world, right? A t-shirt that says white lives matter, which should be implied, right? White lives matter, black lives matter, Asian lives matter. It should be implied. Yet people are angry and they are being vicious online because they can't believe that we have the audacity to detract from the movement, which is a lie, right? Black lives matter. If Black lives matter, then some of these things that we have been talking about on this show, things I've been talking about throughout my entire political career, would be getting attention, not the t-shirt, right? Not the t-shirt, but these actual statistics that matter. And here are just a few of them. 117,626 Black children were killed by surgical abortion in the United States in 2018, right? Those are...
All right, so I'm not going to go too much deeper into this because she goes into the actual number of Black people lynched in American history. Maybe I'll play that part, but I feel like it could spin a narrative. What are your thoughts when she talks about that? Because this leans into the argument of what Black lives matter. Feel free.
So I'm going to jump in to this real quick just to throw my 2 cents in here. And this is because Kanye West today essentially made an Instagram post that said Black Lives Matter was a scam. It's over now, right? That is his response to this. Candace Owens' response right now, at least how I feel that this video is about to go, is to explain to us why we have shown that Black lives don't matter, right? In my personal opinion, all that's doing is deflecting the attention of how ridiculous them wearing that shirt was, or how ridiculous something they did was. Like, we get that. We know this already. This has been stated before. That has nothing to do with why you wore a White Lives Matter. Matter of fact, you could have wore a shirt that said Black Lives Matter is a scam on it. You could have wore a shirt that said Black Lives Matter should matter all the time, and have a list of those same statistics she's about to read on the back of the shirt. Okay. But they made a fucking dumbass shirt. You know what? If it was a shirt that said Brown Lives Matter, Yellow Lives Matter, Indian Lives Matter, African Lives Matter, Latin Lives Matter, no one would give a shit. Okay. Because we know this already. But we also know without a shirt or a slogan that saying White Lives Matter is really just a slap in the face to all those other communities.
Okay.
If they are deflecting and they're bringing up other issues as far as the Black community, wouldn't this be the more important thing to talk about than the shirt?
You don't need to align yourself and make us look like, okay, I see your point right here, saying this gave them the opportunity to bring up these statistics, right? But that makes me have to be 100% in faith that it's genuine. Because to me, and even, after the conversation that between Mantis and Steve had last night, this is a marketing ploy. This isn't, about to educate America. We're about to educate Black Americans about their own problems. We're about to sell some shit, and this is gonna be our attention grab because they're about to eat off this. Both of them, her and Kanye West.
Yeah, you know, and I think that everyone in the chat agrees. That's my question. What was the intent? And this is why I don't allow myself to be pulled into it, because I believe that the intent is exactly what you've been saying, Cincy, and exactly what you've been saying, Bex. It was to garner attention. I don't think Kanye put any deeper thought into it, and I think Candace, on the other hand, and I don't want to call her a mouthpiece. This is something she reflects on constantly. That's why she has an argument already laid out. I don't even need, let me just stop sharing the screen. Her view on this entire thing, right, is always going to boil down to consistency. She's always going to make that argument. And you know why she's always going to make that argument? Because she has not received an adequate answer, in her estimation, in regard to when Black Lives Matter. But in regards to White Lives Matter, don't fall for the okie doke. I think when it comes to argumentation, you want to allow yourself to be pulled into nonsense, right? Because my response to this would have been, I never implied that they didn't. I never implied that they didn't. In fact, they do matter. Life matters. I have a worldview that says all life matters. And when I say that all life matters, I'm not going for any political jockeying, right? I'm not going for a party. And when someone tells me that Black lives matter, I would say I do agree with you. I do agree with you. As long as the sentiment behind that is consistent, right? You know, as long as it's consistent. But I think we have landed on the fact that you have to know when to engage and when not to engage. And had everyone just went, okay, Kanye, whatever, then he would not be trending on this topic, because there's no deeper layer of conversation here, which is my point. It's just Kanye doing Kanye things, man. Because as soon as he wants to espouse some negativity about his ex-wife, he's going to be back to vying for the Black community. Ever so subtle. You know what he does, right? You know what he does. We all recognize in Kanye, in my opinion, and I still hold this opinion, is a man that needs clinical help. I'm not offended by the statement that white lives matter, because I refuse to bite that low-hanging fruit, especially from a clinically, I don't want to say insane, but someone that has a diagnosis like Kanye. You know, but I do want to point out, though, there's no point that you can pause this video where Candace doesn't look like she's on her A game. Bex, can you give us a fashion critique of Candace Owens?
Yes, I love her shirt. I love her shirt. The puff sleeves, like, it's everything. I love it.
Like, go ahead, Cincy.
Candace Owens, amazing looking woman. Extra, you know, she looks like royalty here. She got like the old English, whatever, all the shit, the whole setting, not just her, looks elegant. Okay. So I'll admit to that. But the fact that you brought up the fashion is perfect for me, because this is what I really want to say. Everybody wants to talk about how brilliant Kanye West is, this and that. He's breaking barriers for people in fashion, yada, yada, yada. This is bullshit. First and foremost, Kanye West isn't the first person there, and he wasn't invited there as a well-received member. Kanye West was the entertainment for Fashion Week.
Oh.
And let me explain this to you. A jester lives in the king's castle still.
Okay.
Okay. A jester is still well paid, but he's not invited to the king's dinner to eat ham. He's invited to make a fool of himself. That's Kanye West. Secondly, in fashion, which I don't read a lot about, but this inspired me to go read from Vogue to New York Times, completely ill-received. The highest order of Black media in that Paris Fashion Week said that it was completely unacceptable for him to do that. No one, white or Black, involved in Fashion Week agreed with his doing this. It's not accepted as fashion. and they're not even accepting it as art, because you know what? Like we've all said, it's a troll, and trolling is not a fucking art, and it doesn't deserve a place to be here, and he doesn't deserve a name next to all the other black creators who have worked harder than him to get there without trolling their way to the top.
So you touched on something in regards to the fashion. So I brought this up for a moment last night in fanboy modeling school. Hip hop fashion was not and still is not respected highly in regards to high fashion, right? They don't see it as something that's actually welcome at the table. So I agree with that statement 100%. But we're not dealing with the core of the argument here, Cincy. The fact of the matter is, Candace Owens is staring at you right now, Cincy. And she's
If I had I can't make that statement, but I'm not going to make that statement.
I just want to play the next part, right? Because I do think that she makes some valid points. I have always admitted I have a torn back and forth relationship with Candace Owens, because there are things that she says that are so on point, so poignant, where I'm just like, God, you can't even argue against that. I dare to let this portion play, but I'm going to let it rock.
Recent statistics. Just so we are clear, abortion in America has contributed to the greatest decline in Black population since the first Black slaves arrived. You will hear people often talk about lynching. This is like a new thing. They like neoliberalism. They can talk about lynching, and they compare everything to lynchings. It's just like being lynched. Well, for your reference, you should know that 4,467 people in the United States were victims of lynchings from 1883 to 1941. 3,260.
So I just want to normalize that, because I took a little issue with that. That's reported, right? Whenever we start talking about statistics, it's what was reported or what was recorded. I don't know if that number is viable in the sense where every lynching that ever happened in America in regards to African Americans was reported, because why would it be? Those are the ones that are documented, that we can see, are validated. These things happen. So I just want to normalize that for the audience.
55 of those people were Black. And you keep talking about lynching as this horrific thing that's happened in the past, right? And yet when you say to people today that 20 million Black infants were aborted, they don't even blink an eye. They don't even bat an eyelash. No, less than batting an eyelash. They tell those same Black people that they need to be outraged when a Planned Parenthood clinic shuts down. 20 million. When you talk about
and that's the crux of the argument. I won't dare show any more of the Daily Wire's content, because I don't need that type of smoke in our life. But that's the crux of the argument there. And that's why she's stating that she's willing to wear something like White Lives Matter. It's a troll, but it's a troll that's supposed to make you think deeper in regards to the slogan of Black Lives Matter. She's throwing out a number of 20 million aborted fetuses that would have been of African American descent. So are we being, and this is, hold on for a second.
People that are killed in the.
Are we being consistent in our view in regards to that? And I think that's, in other words, Kanye may be trolling, but is Candace trolling? Like,
no, I never thought she was trolling.
No, okay.
Definitely.
Go for it.
No, because I don't necessarily consider her a troll. Like, she's always on her shit. I never thought she was trolling. I don't want to say that she was using him, but she saw an opening, and this was her opening, and she took it.
And that's exactly what I was saying. Like, she's one of the smartest people that we see on TV consistently. Love her, hate her, not. She is very smart. Like you said earlier, she's very consistent. She's organized.
Yeah.
That makes her dangerous, yes. Whether that's dangerous in a positive manner or negative, whichever way you want to look at it. But here's my problem with this. Candace Owens, because she's disassociated herself in a way with our community already, is not the even remotely close to the person we are going to listen to those facts from and even think about them for a second. We right here have a dope dynamic in which we're able to talk about these things and are interested in these things, and we have some audience that appreciates us talking about those things. But in general, if I go, outside, no one's going to be talking about Candace Owens. They don't even want to hear that information she just dropped from her mouth. In fact, they would have rather Kanye West and would have listened better if Kanye West was the one that said that. But like you just said, Kanye West was trolling. She had a point. I just think she's so far removed from the community that we don't care about her points, right or wrong. We're just not going to be receptive to anything she has to say. Try to be more relatable to the people you alienated if you want to make a point like that. And you know how you don't do that? By wearing that shirt. That's not the first step to becoming more relatable.
Well, I mean, that's always been my critique of the Black conservative movement, right? You need to be in the community for the community to respect you. That's not to say that facts should be completely discounted, right? There's a bit of a misnomer there. Like if someone's espousing facts, then it boils down to, do you accept that these are facts, right? And the argument's always going to be, do you see that these fetuses were life? I do see that they are life. I think it's immutable. But that's still my opinion based off of the information that we're all being presented, right? The same science, we're all exposed to the same science from various different places. But Candace is a hard person to argue with, and this is why it's dangerous to debate with a person like this. I agree with you. People don't want to receive her information, but I don't think she cares if you receive it at this point. And this is where I start to wonder about her intent. This is where I struggle with her the most. Is this for people or is this for clicks? I'm leaning towards it's for people, but I know that other people are going to say and they believe this is for her own monetary gain. And that's going to continue to be her barrier. Go ahead.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think she does genuinely care, and it is for the people. But media also controls the masses, so those clicks are going to help regardless.
Bex brought the A game tonight. Oh,
yeah. So think about this, and this is going to be another reason why I say it. Not the facts that she just dropped were dangerous, because again, I'm not refuting her facts here, or the impact that abortion and everything else she could have just named had on the community. But what is dangerous is when you have people in power that stand to gain from always taking the opposite side of a people group. So we've talked a lot about the dangers of media controlling rappers to be extra violent.
Right.
That same thing applies to Candace Owens. Now, whether she's actually participating in it or not is one thing, but that applies to all media. So she very well may benefit from throwing Black people consistently under the bus. And she can mask that and make herself continue to look like the person she is by being consistent and smart and making it hard to argue with her points. But just because you make a point doesn't mean you're not throwing people under the bus.
All valid. All valid. Someone just anyway, in regards to this whole topic, right? In regards to White Lives Matter. Now, if it was me in the situation, I think it was you that just said literally a moment ago, Cynthia, I apologize. It's been a long work day. Had they come out and said, or wore a shirt that says, I love Black people, and then ... but you need to hear this, then I think it would have been received extremely different. Last thoughts on the subject of Jesus bringing the truth to people. White Lives Matter.
Last thoughts, we have just as much chance as Ye donating season 9 money to inner city schools as Dr. Umar building his
school. Speaking of devil, I went to IG to go look for a video, and the first thing that popped up was Dr. Umar unapologetic. There's absolutely nothing funny about this. Umar is not feeling it. Bex, last thoughts?
No comment.
What? Why? Why no comment? No, be yourself.
I am being myself.
You got thoughts.
Don't feed the trolls. That's that's my problem. Stop feeding
Stop
the
coddling
trolls.
Kanye West.
I agree.
Call him out on his bullshit.
Are you talking to me personally?
You and every other woman that's ever bought a pair of
He's
Yeezys.
not gonna listen to me. He's not hearing me.
All right. I got a quick one for you guys. Former UFC fighter Uriah Hall, Dynamo, was at one time thought to take over the middleweight division. If you're unfamiliar with him, he is from Jamaica, Queens. Shout out Southside Jamaica, Queens, New York in the building. Don't worry about these other places. New York is where it's happening at right now. Uriah Hall's always been one of these guys I respect. He's not very political. He's not very socially conscious that I've seen in regards to the public space. But he is what you would call a sincere heart. Right? Though he can put your jaw on the other side of your face, he's quoted as saying, Bex, the reason why I have not been more successful in my career is because I don't like hurting people. And this is a man that had the power to hurt people. His highlight reel is horrible. But this is what he had to say about a certain situation he had.
I can't believe I'm about to do this, but black people, we need to stop looking at each other like we're the enemy or some shit. Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. White folks have no fucking clue. But every time you look at someone of color, it's this competitive bullshit. We need to stop. If we could come together the way the LGBT community does, Jesus fucking Christ, the shit we can do. Enough of this shit. I'm tired of it. I just had experience, and I can't believe I'm pulling a Karen, or I guess since I'm black, it would be a Daquan. We need to stop. If we're going to look at each other, don't be afraid to say what's up. Do it like white folks do. But enough.
So, and I'm telling you, this is not a guy who he doesn't get on there and espouse a lot of stuff. He does some funny stuff every once in a while, but this resonated with me personally because I try to make sure whenever I'm walking into space where I see a brother or a sister, and I'm comfortable with calling black people brothers and sisters, that I always acknowledge them in a way that lets them know, like, I see you. Like, maybe I don't love you. I ain't loaning you no damn money. That's for sure. But I see you. Head nod and all that stuff. What do you think about Uriah's statements there?
I get it. I really do get it. But I move differently in this world than he does.
Okay.
So I'm not going to navigate the streets the same way he is. I'm not about to be given, the black people head nod to every black person that I see on the street, especially black men. And that's just like, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. But that doesn't mean that I don't care about my people and I don't care about this community. At the end of the day, I want to keep myself safe first. I come first. So, I mean, I get what he's saying, but I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that with every black person that I see.
Why? Why wouldn't you?
Because that would create an opening. And what if I don't want that opening?
Okay. But that's not primarily focused at just black men. Are you saying black men in general?
I mean, he's talking about black people, so
okay.
I'm just saying black people.
Okay. Cincy?
No, I'm more in a line with what you say. When I'm walking through the streets, wherever I'm at, like, I'm pretty consistent with acknowledging the people that I pass as far as, what's going on, the head nod, all that. I was with him completely until he said Daquan. I thought that was an attempt at a joke that didn't land right. And I'm pretty sure if there was a black Karen name, it definitely isn't Daquan. But no, I mean, I feel him I feel Bex too, but I feel him in the sense that there is a certain level of competition that goes on. And I would say that his statement probably, in all actuality, primarily involves black men.
Yeah, I agree. I was just about
It's
to ask
really,
that. Like, is this a black man thing?
I'm really absolutely thinking this. And not to say that it doesn't happen, but you don't very often see on the news, issues, a shootout or gang violence or something that happened because two black women were staring down each other. Like maybe over a man every now and then you might hear, but it's never like what he's talking about and what he's specifically referring to. And that's why I do it, because there's no competition. We're both on the same sidewalk.
Right.
We're both riding down the same street. We're both at the same restaurant or whatever it is. Like, there is no competition between us right now. I'm just trying to make it. I know you're just trying to make it. What do we need? So I think the head nod, it's just a gesture, and it's not much. It doesn't take much.
And
Go ahead,
in
Bex.
some situations, I feel like it's appreciated and it's needed, like like if I'm like the only black person in the room and then another black person walks in and we acknowledge each other, like it was needed in that situation.
I feel it's needed in every situation, but I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench in the commentary that you guys are providing. But allow me to place the caveat on it, which I will be intellectually honest. This is experiential at the best until I look up the data, which I had handy, but I'll bring it back at another time. So experientially, yes, I have been in more fights with black men, obviously, physically, than I've been black women. I've never fought a black woman, to be honest with you. But I want you to ask me another question. How did I end up in those fights with those black men? Now, I grew up in Harlem. This could be a different experience from, somewhere like Baltimore or Cincinnati. But most of my fights, or most of the fights I had experienced growing up, wasn't because me and this dude had a disagreement. It was because there was a woman instigating it. In fact, let me give you a situation that I was in once on 116th Street and Lenox Avenue. And this was not a romantic situation. I was just walking home from school at the ripe, beautiful age of 10. And a woman that shared the same complexion as me pointed at me and said, "He's soft." Now, these dudes weren't even checking for me when I was walking up the block, but she pointed me out. That's one scenario that I experienced. Another scenario I experienced was a girl actually got her brothers to try to chin check me in the south side of Chicago, and I had never done anything to this young lady. So you made a point about regarding black women, not to say that doesn't happen in the Latino community, because I lived in LA and I've seen it happen there as well, but let's not pretend like women in the hood, and that's how we differentiate this, who are caught up in hood games, don't do hood shit. They may not physically be able to hurt you themselves, but don't act like they ain't out in these streets and they won't get you got. Most robberies in the hood are set up, and women are the ones helping to line brothers up. Are we forgetting about that?
I didn't forget.
Yeah, I didn't forget about that. I just don't think it actually applies to what he said.
Oh, I think it does.
Because we're talking about navigating. Okay, so we're talking about if you're being lined up, there's not a head nod in the world that's going to save you.
But I think that it does apply, because he's also talking about the way we view each other, right? If we're viewing each other, not only is not competition, but not as a threat, there would be no reason to do that. There would be no reason for us to interact with each other. And again, if you're from another race, I'm coming for you too. Don't think I ain't seen this shit in the brown community. Don't think I haven't seen it in the Asian community. But since Uriah Hall is talking about black people being competitive with each other, you know what I enjoyed about this sentiment here? And this is, I picked this purposely just because after the Kanye thing, this is how you convey a message to people. You're right. I'm telling you, I'll send you guys more reels of this guy. You will not meet a nicer guy outside of the octagon. But it's a valid point, and this is how you convey a point to people. You know what I'm saying? He didn't need an overly heavy-handed statement or shirt to get this point across. He's just like, hey, this is the experience I had today. I feel like we would benefit from this train of thought. I did like the Daquan joke. I thought it was hilarious. I spit my coffee out when I heard that shit this morning. Like Daquan is the guy that's going to complain when he goes to, the chicken restaurant in Cincinnati with the fellow with the mallet chasing the chicken around. Daquan's going to make a big issue if his gizzards aren't cooked properly. For sure, Daquan is. But I think this is how you deliver it. Why are you laughing, Bex? You don't think Daquan's... Anywhere there's a Daquan, there's going to be a situation. I'm sorry if your name's Daquan, but you know your own behavior. I think this is the way you convey a message. No? You don't his delivery?
Oh, absolutely.
I agree.
But his delivery was fine, but I don't know. Like once I heard what he said, I honestly wasn't sure what like exactly he was talking about. Like I needed more from him. Like, what are you talking about exactly, sir?
Let me ask you a question as a black woman, and again, this will be very short, but this is in regards to previous statements. You ever been jumped by some girls before, Bex?
No.
Ah, there it is. There it is. My sibling Lee, has been attacked, or women have tried to attack her multiple times off of two premises. There goes that bitch with the good hair, and there goes that light-skinned bitch that thinks she's better than us. And that's the competition that I think that, you know what I'm saying? Like from a woman's vantage point, should be addressed. Now I'm sure someone's going to say something about something or something, whatever. But I think it's applicable to women too. I do think it's applicable to women as well. Have you ever jumped a girl, Bex?
Even at our big girl age? No, I've never jumped a girl.
I don't know. Cynthia and me are not believing you.
Wow. Do you think that's me?
Like what you say about Kanye?
No, I am a lover, not a fighter. I'll just go fuck your boyfriend. But anyway, even
I revised my statement. What he said absolutely applies to women too. If his particular instance may have just been about an experience he had with another man, but he's absolutely right. And Bex, that's worse off. I would rather not. What you just did, that's why these motherfuckers are lining your dude up. That is why you find these motherfuckers dead in the room. Because dumb shit like that is what leads to death. It's not enough to just punch a motherfucker in their mouth. To sleep with their man. Okay. All right. And what do you think that other chick is showing? Because y'all could have just scrapped it out. Now I got to kill this broad. Now I gotta kill her. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, hiding behind your fucking Chinese food restaurant. That's what you're doing. Because when they come for that smoke.
Bex has got like 80 cousins. They show up to that apartment or they show up to that area, they getting jumped. She's like, yeah, I took your man, and now we about to whoop your ass. Ponytail up in the air, Bex with the high knot.
That's how make bitches feel that shit. Like, okay, you punch her in her face, she gonna heal up, but nah, I need your heart broke, ho.
Oh my goodness, we are here for the ignorance. It's turning into a coming out episode. Listen, we should jump off early because I want to do some drinking, and I turned into a werewolf once I start drinking, and I start attacking my friends, and I thank you guys for all that type of stuff. But there's one other thing that I got for this man right here. Cincy, I'm tired of your community coming for everything I love, man. The low vibration food thing, I'm not standing for it. Anyone comes at me talking about you're eating low vibration food while I'm enjoying macaroni and cheese, I won't eat no hog moss. I won't eat no damn chitlins, no pig feet, none of that shit. I've had it in the past. I will not tolerate the food that we should only eat once a year. Now, I'm in agreement with you on this, Cincy. You should not be eating that food that we enjoy. You know what the food I'm talking about every day. Big Mama, you trying to kill us. But you will not refer to it as low vibration food. You will not. ancestors that way.
If it's one thing you know about me, you guys know I love to eat. I don't align with them Dr. CB motherfuckers. I don't align with them. They're fucking insane. I don't even like vegans. Y'all, come on,
Are
chill
they
out.
insane?
Yeah, they're cuckoo
They're
for
insane.
cocoa butter. Okay, they are, because I like to eat. But I will say moderation, like Steve just said, that shit's not meant for us every day. But don't come at me. Don't come at me. Mac, because you know what? It stick to your ribs. You ain't gonna be hungry, motherfucker.
I'm going for 3 plates. If we went to my aunt's house once when my first son was born, and she had made my favorite dish: fried whitefish, macaroni and cheese, and collard greens. I will push your grandmother, my grandmother. It's my time when that dish is made. Low vibration be damned. That food is from God and the ancestors. And the ancestors are smiling down like 400 years of oppression. Look at our little brown bambino enjoying that meal, not in the shack.
Steve, you know what? You know what else the ancestors sent us? Watermelon.
I ain't eating that shit. Show's over.
You know what grinds my gears the worst? There is no substitute for real butter. I don't give a damn what anybody says. If you are cooking with fake butter,
Look, we are cooking with fake butter here at the Hold Up TV, but it's because our baby has a dairy allergy. But I long for the day when we can give that baby some real butter.
you extra virgin olive oil.
The baby
It will taste good at the end of
I'm
the
just messing
day.
with you. But no, there's nothing can replace fatback. Just
Fatback. Listen, the only problem is, black people may be responsible for the environmental crisis. We've been dumping grease down the goddamn sink for too damn long. We made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm just saying, don't refer to my family's food as low vibrational. You take your fucking NDRE CD, you get out of this house right now. You don't like it? Get out.
Is that how we're disposing of the grease?
Listen, I've never seen my grandma pour out the grease. To my knowledge, she's still
Here we
using
go.
the same grease that she was using when I was 5 to cook the greens in. For all my knowledge,
Listen, let me be the guy to tell you, Santa Claus isn't real. The Easter Bunny is pagan. And most certainly, that can by your grandmother's freaking stove that you think is the same one, that grease has made its way down the stove. Down the sink at some point. Y'all ain't gonna get up here and be intellectually dishonest, especially you, Bex. God dang well that grease makes its way down the sink.
Look at here. For the most part of my life, I grew up in a vegan household, so it was none of that.
Outside.
But I've never seen the grease being poured down the drain. The grease was always thrown outside.
Even worse.
I'm just saying, it was always thrown outside. I've never seen it poured down the drain.
Listen, get me my low vibrational plate and watch me. I promise you. Let me just put it to you.
I don't agree with the low vibrational comment, but we do have to agree that some things just aren't good for you, and we're in agreement with that, right?
We're in agreement with that, but don't be that person at Thanksgiving breaking out.
No, mind your fucking business.
The vibrations are off. I'm gonna smack you with a crucifix. Like the power of Christ compels you.
it's like this. After both my kids get out of high school, I don't give a fuck.
Oh, this is
At
great.
what point they take me out the game? I don't give a fuck. So if I die with a big ass plate, the goddamn candy yams with all the brown sugar and all the butter, that's just what the fuck it is.
Matt says you have to save the grease. That's right, Matt. You come into the cookout. In case always doesn't know, since he has an entire exit plan for when he leaves this planet, as soon as his kids are of age and they're okay, this man is firing up the longest Newport, right? Pouring the biggest cup of Hennessy. He's just gonna dissolve into the ether. I love it, man. Look, I want to attend both of you guys' weddings, right? Right, and we won't go into me mushing Bex's fiance if he, right? If I even think he's going to disrespect Bex, this is a problem. But if I show up to either one of your weddings and someone with sandals on that smells like frankincense and myrrh comes up to me while I'm trying to enjoy my plate, and you don't stop that person from coming over to me, You line that person up, Cincy. You line them up.
I agree, and you know what? This is very true because there's one thing that I've only had this happen one time. But people, when you're about to have guests over for dinner, I don't care how spiritual you are, do not light that fucking sage anytime before people are about to come over. I don't disagree with sage, but you can taste that shit in your mouth because you can smell it so strong in the fucking air.
Look at Bax's face.
Food when you got sage in your mouth.
If it's bothering you, then that means you need to get the fuck up out my house.
Right, that means you eating sage. And
Go
you
ahead.
You're not going to cook none of them greens. You should have saved the whole mall. You should have saved the greens. You should have saved everything else. That's all that means. Because y'all motherfuckers know that shit is strong. You know it's strong.
And if you got dreads or an afro, we ask you for on behalf of the entire family coming to the cookout. Go ahead and throw that shit, throw a cap on it. There's one thing I'm okay with wearing a bonnet in public for. If you cooking and you at the cookout, put a bonnet on. Nothing ruins a good meal than finding a piece of uncle in the food. You know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't matter how good the mac and cheese is. I had fun tonight, right? This is good. We had a very productive conversation. There was no, we'll probably argue in the green room, right? But we had a great time tonight. Low vibrational time, motherfuckers. Always trying to take stuff away. Watermelon, I'm okay with. Only in public. Only in public. That's the only.
Cauliflower is not real.
It isn't. Cauliflower is not real in the sense where it didn't start off that way. But the next one of y'all that sent the video of that old man with those two black women sitting on the bed with him. I'm coming for you. My food is not low vibrational. I get to eat it once a year. I want to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? That's how we bring the races together, right, Bex? We start having sex outside our race, and we stop calling food low vibrational.
No.
Bex is not down for world peace. Cincy Star, get us the hell out of here.
All right, this is DJ Cincy Star, Princess Bex, and Steve, CEO of the Hold Up TV network. This has been Dope Dynamics, another great episode. Tomorrow night we got what is tomorrow? Wednesday. We are taking Wednesday off because we have children to take care of tomorrow. Thursday night, if Bex is putting in work like she promised us when she signed this contract, we're gonna have a show called Pillow Talk. I believe back on Spoon. I believe that's what you said. Right. Yes, then Friday night, and of course Saturday or Sunday night, you got me for Fufu motherfucking Fridays, where hopefully I will rein myself in just a little bit this week. And then on Sundays, of course, we're just big chilling. Hey, it's been real, and I appreciate all y'all coming through. Peace.